Hi guys, welcome to our channel of Sciences and Mathematics. Today we are going to look at one of the examples of a reaction that is under the electrophilic substitution aromatic reactions that we have discussed in some of our videos. And our topic for today is going to be on the sulfonation, of course, which is a process. Sulfonation, one of the processes of electrophilic substitution aromatic reactions, which we have mentioned in one of our videos. So in this case, sulfonation basically means that the attachment of an electrophile on the benzene ring. Of course, this electrophile, we're going to see how it is being formed. So this specific electrophile, of course, we're going to see on how it comes about from the three basic steps that we had talked about, which are the fundamental basis for an electrophilic substitution aromatic reaction. So in this case, our electrophile for this reaction, which we had said we're going to simplify or just use that symbol to indicate an electrophile, it's going to be this derivative from the reaction of a sulfur trioxide and a catalyst, that is sulfuric acid, to give us this particular kind of an electrophile. So in this case, we're going to look at the reaction mechanism that is leading to the formation of that kind of an electrophile, and then we will proceed and try to see on how this reaction of sulfonation takes place. So the mixture between these two particular kind of reactants is known as fuming sulfuric acid. Sometimes we can find sulfuric acid being written using that name, but it just implies the same thing. Of course, in case I use this one, will interchangeably with the other one, F. Like so I've written there sulfonation, it's going to mean the same thing. So this is sulfuric acid, which is written as that. So the mixture between these two kind of reactants is known as fuming sulfuric acid, and that is going to form, of course, the condition for our electrophile that I've written on the board. So we are going to have a look at how this electrophile is achieved. So, and we said that an electrophile is an electron poor species, now that we have indicated that it's positively charged. So in this case, we're going to have sulfur trioxide using the Lewis dot structure for this, of course, trioxide. So I'll indicate these dots there to indicate the lone pair of electrons. And then I'll have the structure for sulfuric acid, which of course is going to have double bonds on this side, H at that point. And then it's going to form this kind of so in this case we talked about an electrophile, a nucleophile, and then in this case we're going to have some polar compounds, which of course contain either full or partial charges. So in any case, I indicate a compound that consists of maybe a positive and a negative charge. That is what I'm trying to refer to as a polar compound. It means it has got those specific charges. And later in the lessons that we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about the concept of dipole. So whenever I indicate those ones, we're going to have a specific discussion on what those ones entail, but I'm just going to indicate that one so that we use it in our discussion. So we are going to have this compound polarized with a negative charge at this point and a positive charge at that point. Now in this case, there's also going to be another product from this kind of a reaction that we're going to have. Which of course is going to have a positive charge here. This is a proton. So in this case, the last product that I've indicated is can form a resonance structure. Now that we've talked about the concept of resonance with another compound or just a product or a molecule, it appears like that. So we have H, and then this all consists of those lone pair of electrons. So basically, in our this is the reaction that takes place inside this of course, what we have the mixture that we have called the fuming sulfuric acid leads to the formation of an electrophile that we are going to, of course, get from this kind of a reaction. And in this case, our electrophile is going to be this resonance part of the molecule that we have used here. Of course, in this case, when we have indicated that electrons are those points, this one is going to have a partial positive charge at this point, or just a positive charge at this particular point, and it's going to form part of our electrophile that we're going to use in this kind of a reaction. So in this case, I'm going to just do away with this so that I give a representation for the reaction that is going to take place and form a product that is known as, of course, benzene sulfonic acid. So I just wrap away the reaction that we have indicated on the board. So, and give a general reaction for the formation of the product and the conditions. Of course, we have said that hydrogen or just sulfuric acid is going to be used as a catalyst, and from our biology discussion and then chemistry, we know what a catalyst is. It's a substance that is involved in a chemical reaction but is not changed at the end of the reaction. So in this case, does not have a chemical change the reaction. So we're going to use sulfuric acid as a catalyst. So this is going to be our reactant, and then there is going to be subjected to some conditions and it will form a product. So in this case, we said that it's going to react with the sulfur trioxide, and then we are going to have a catalyst of sulfuric acid. And in this case, of course, there's going to be, this symbol indicates it, so in that case it's going to react under some conditions. So as we go by, we're going also to discuss about different conditions which might have a range of temperatures, etc. So in this case, this is going to be our nucleophile. In that case, it's going to follow the nucleophilic part of it, and it's going to react with our electrophile that we talked about in order to form a product. So in this case, the reaction mechanism for this reaction, of course, which is a stepwise indication of how this proceeds from the reactant to the product. So bear in mind that this is just going to be used as a catalyst for the mixture between this one and this one forms what we call fuming sulfuric acid, which is a condition which provides that electrophile that we had indicated in our discussion before we do this. So I'm just going to do away with this. And then we shall have now the benzene molecule that is reacting with an electrophile to form that product in a process that we have called sulfonation. So we shall have our electrophile like that. So this is and then I said that we have a partial, just a positive charge at that particular point for our electrophile. So I'm going to indicate it using that one. And then we shall have what we call an intermediate species. An intermediate species is an unstable species that forms in between the reaction, or in the process of reaction, and of course which leads to the final product. So this one is an intermediate species that is formed in this process of sulfonation. So we have, at this point, of course, we said that carbon is attached to 4 bonds. So we have a proton at that point, and then there's an electrophile attached at that point, and we're going to indicate on how that one happens. So that is the intermediate that is going to be formed, and then we shall have a final product, which is, of course, H3. So the whole of this process is what we call sulfonation, and the reaction mechanism that we talked about in the 3 steps of electrophilic substitution aromatic reaction. We said that first there are in carbon-carbon bonds interact with the electrophile there in order to form an intermediate species that we have indicated at that point. So in that case, of course, we are going to have a nucleophile, which can be from these products that we call this mixture that we call a fuming sulfuric acid. Of course, as we were writing the products that were forming from the electrophile that I was drawing, there was a product of this nature that we have indicated, so this H. And then there was that point, and then that negative charge there. So I can just use that one as a nucleophile, of course. So that nucleophile is going to pick this proton. So the proton is it's going to pick this proton from this point. From the this is going to form a sigma bond between the carbon hydrogen. So it's going to form a sigma bond that it's going to break this sigma bond between the carbon and hydrogen at that particular point. So therefore that bond that is at that point will reverse. So the first one we say that is an electrophile. It's a ring part of the molecule interact with an electrophile to form this intermediate species, that of course is of this nature, of course. And then we'll have a nucleophile that is going to pick this proton and break the bond of the carbon hydrogen sigma bond at this particular point. And then this bond will move at that point in order to restore what we call aromaticity of that product. So in actual sense, that process happens because the compound has to be stable. As we said that the intermediate species, of course, forms in between a product and the reactants and the final product, which indicates that it's actually unstable. So for that case, for stability to be maintained, then the aromatic nature or the aromaticity of that product has to be maintained. So therefore, this bonds moves here in order to form the final product that of course consists of an aromatic compound. So in this case, this process is very much essential in our day-to-day life. This process of sulfonation is the one that is applied in the manufacture of sildenafil citrate that goes by the brand name Viagra. Viagra that can be used in the treatment of some male reproductive condition that is known as erectile dysfunction, or sometimes it can be used in the treatment of pulmonary hypertension. So this product that results from the formation or the process of sulfonation, not this specifically, but a product that results from the formation or the process of sulfonation. One of them is a sildenafil citrate, which goes by the brand name Viagra, that can be used for the treatment of erectile dysfunction in males. And then for pulmonary hypertension, which is a condition, of course, that comes due to high blood pressure in the blood vessels that supply blood to the human lungs. So in that case, this process of sulfonation, of course, is important. We're also going to look at different steps and processes that are, of course, of this nature, so that we can be able to supplement on what we've discussed and try to improve on our concept of trying to look at the reaction mechanisms and the products which are formed. Of course, for that case, that is it for today. So bye guys, God bless you.